What is going on, chat, man? We are back, and today we are reacting to Michael Jordan has broken Klutch Sports. This is highly anticipated and highly recommended. I genuinely don't know why. I feel like he has some shade to throw on LeBron, and you guys know, or if you don't know, I'm the biggest LeBron James fan of all time. So, hey, I did admit that Jordan is the GOAT, but you guys had a little bit to say when I said LeBron is the GOAT of my generation. I don't know. I feel like that's what it is. Like Gen Z, I feel like he is the GOAT. But enough with that said. If you're new to my channel and you like old NBA content, hit the subscribe button. With that being said, let's get straight into the video. Yes, sir.
Quote from the longtime agent of Jordan saying, I really liked LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry-picked what teams he wanted to be on and two other superstars, he would have won 15 championships.
Oh, wow.
I just thought that was very unfair and a little beneath David Falk for a number of reasons. And so we can't have revisionist history, and we all want to.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Wait. Did Jordan say that LeBron is like a cherry picker when it goes to different teams? What?
But, the big three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a big three.
What?
Again, the cherry.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I know Rich Paul, and he's always with LeBron. That's like his, I don't know, manager or something. But I'll be completely honest. That Miami team was a big three, and like a crazy big three actually at the time being. Even though I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to play with that team in 2K. It was a big three, man.
Pick. I've discussed that. The two other superstars. Michael never had to leave.
That's the whole point. This stuff is hard.
Yeah, LeBron.
And you got to stay together if you got the guts.
Oh,
And you
wow.
don't find the first door and run out of it.
Oh, wow.
When it comes to NBA fans, one thing that's universally admired and respected is a superstar player who spent their entire prime with one franchise. Now, being with that,
Yes. I'll be honest. With LeBron leaving the Cavs, his home team, and he got drafted there, for him to leave, no matter what, if he bring them a championship, that was kind of stupid. Thinking about it, that shit was stupid.
franchise, they take them from a mid-tier team, a pretty good team, to a championship team. Looking at the vast majority of NBA superstars, that's how it's always been done. The 1980s, Magic and Bird. The 90s, of course, you had Jordan.
Yup.
The 2000s, Kobe and Duncan. Then the 2010s, 2020s,
Curry.
guys like Curry, Jokic, as well as Giannis. Players who opt for that route to win championships, in the end, they get much more respect.
Yeah,
as guys
true.
like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden, to name a few, are essentially mercenaries.
I don't know. I feel like Kawhi Leonard and his championship run was crazy, but if he just stayed on Toronto and didn't go to like the Clippers, it would have been way different. I feel like it would have been way different.
Hunting for titles on super teams and cherry-picking their own rosters.
Okay.
Quote from the longtime agent of Jordan saying, I really liked LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry-picked what teams he wanted to be on and two other superstars, he would have won 15 championships.
Correct!
Wow.
Now look, David Falk is saying Jordan could have 15 championships if he cherry-picked rosters, jumped ship, and really meddled in the front office. That might be stretching it. But the thing is, Falk's overall point, it still rings true. For a guy
That
like
is
Jordan who
kinda
had
true.
6 championships, there were still opportunities here and there to add to that.
That is so true. Okay. It took me a while to like fully think about LeBron leaving his teams and all that. I know I'm stubborn, but yo, he switched teams many times, and he changed his roster every season many times. He did cherry pick, like he cheated. I feel like he cheated. Then yeah, I feel like he cheated.
Total with cheap rings. And even looking at 1990 pre-Jordan's championships, he could have jumped ship after numerous failures versus the bad boy Pistons.
Sadly, I'm disappointed, because I wanted to go further. But I got to accept the season that we played. We had a good season. We got this far. We got to look forward to next season. That's the only thing we can do.
Okay.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Michael Jordan in 1990 and LeBron James in 2010, they were in eerily similar spots. But a guy like Jordan stuck it out, stayed with the team, LeBron James jumped ship, said, "I'll take the easy way."
Move this man!
If Jordan could just jump ship here and there whenever he wanted to, recycle rosters, trade certain players, get younger players in, older players out, he could have gotten 7, 8, 9, heck, even 10 championships.
That is actually complete facts. And if Jordan played longer, he'd probably have more than 6 championships also. That is crazy when you think about it. Jordan just played. Like, he just played basketball. But dang, it's so normalized now, chat, that I'm so used to players just changing teams. So when I have this realistic, like like truth hit me, is crazy.
But if Jordan did that, his overall legacy would be looked at a lot different. For guys like LeBron, KD, Kawhi, the modern day superstar players who jump ship so often, that's how we should look at them. Yes, their rings count, but it's a tad bit different. And even looking at LeBron himself, he admits it openly. If he didn't join the Big Three Heat, he would have 2 less championships.
To show how dominant he would have been in Miami, saying, "Damn right, I still would be. I'm chosen. Ain't nothing changing that. Maybe less rings."
What did you just say?
Nothing changing.
Okay, when you say you're chosen, that completely defeats the purpose of you being chosen. Because it's just like an ego thing now, right, chat?
Changing that, maybe less rings.
I'm learning.
LeBron, I'm not so sure. Had you not gone to Miami, how do I make a compelling case? And I can argue any case before the Supreme Court. How do I make a case that he's a top 5 player if he doesn't go to Miami?
So that right there is LeBron's biggest cheerleader to Shannon Sharpe, saying what everyone knows. LeBron James' path to winning championships, he needed the Heat and he needed to form super teams. The exact same thing with Kevin Durant. For someone like Jordan, he didn't need that, and he didn't do that. That's why his path to his rings is 10 times more impressive. And looking back at David Falk's comments, the one guy who got really upset, really rattled by the truth, was indeed Rich Paul, LeBron's right-hand stooge.
David Falk said something the other day about LeBron cherry picking. I just thought that was very unfair and a little beneath David Falk for a number of reasons. And so we can't have revisionist history, and we all want to just determine who's the GOAT and who's the best.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
We can't have revisionist history.
Flashback.
The Big Three thing has never really worked, and you say, well, what happened in...
He's backtracking. He's backtracking, chat. Hey, I'm on the Jordan side, okay? I'm on the Jordan side of things. I'm still a LeBron fan, but, you know, I'm neutral, okay?
Miami, that wasn't really a Big Three.
Now, stopping that right there very, very quickly, Rich Paul in this clip, just super, super ironic. He wants fans, media members, David Falk, to stop revising history. In case you guys missed it, Rich Paul just a couple of weeks ago said LeBron's Big Three Heat, they weren't a super team. If anyone's revising history, it's Rich Paul, LeBron James, and the entire Klutch Sports enterprise.
Yeah.
And again, when you look at that, right? Again, the cherry pick, I've discussed that. The 2 other superstars, Michael never had to leave.
That's facts.
Michael's never been the underdog in any
No, actually,
finals.
No, that's not facts. Jordan could have left when the Pistons were whooping him. Went to the Lakers, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to.
Not one time.
What you just said
Right, chat?
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
So stopping Rich Paul right there, being the lead LeBron spokesman, the lead LeBron whisperer, this guy is just terrible at his job. In response to David Falk's comments calling out LeBron James for cherry-picking teams, what does this guy do off the jump? He says verbatim, Michael never had to leave. Rich Paul, who are you arguing for? Are you pro LeBron or pro Jordan? Because that right there ends the entire debate. Yes, Michael Jordan never had to leave. LeBron left not once, twice, but 3.
He just spoke he literally just spoke for Jordan. He went against LeBron right there. He fell into his trap.
3 separate times. And still has 4 championships to MJ's 6. Now, Rich Paul having that self-own, he actually kind of catches himself, stops for a second, the gears are turning, says, I have to pivot, change my tactics, get a new argument. And what does he go to right away? A classic LeBron fan line. Well, you know, Mike in the finals was never the underdog.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
And to add one thing there very quickly about being favored versus being the underdogs, I mean, there's pressure on both those teams. But honestly, being the favorite, much more pressure on you to get the job done. And looking at Jordan, when he was favored, had the higher seed, he was a perfect 24-0. LeBron James.
That's actually highly impressive. 24 wins and 0 losses. Anything that's undefeated to me is just very impressive. I don't know what it is, but it's just crazy.
His career has lost 5 times with home court advantage. So saying Jordan was never the underdog, always the favorite, honestly means nothing. As looking at LeBron's career, even the NBA Finals has lost when favored.
An unlikely playoff run capped off by Dallas upsetting LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the favored Miami Heat.
You lose! Good day, sir!
When looking at MJ's Bulls, one of the biggest problems I have with people nowadays, they just say this team, you know, they had 6 championships in the bag that were guaranteed a surefire hit. This Bulls team 1990, we didn't know what they'd be. And looking at 1991, that year's NBA Finals, yes, the Bulls technically were favored, but saying they were guaranteed to win it, they were going to waltz the championship, that in the moment isn't what anyone thought.
But it's Magic and Worthy and you know, all the experience and who are these guys. I predict the Bulls are going to win in 5. And there's just this outrage in the media, you know, sort of how dare you, you know.
Jordan was the underdog against the Lakers? What? Chat, can you guys let me know down below, like, Jordan that I know now, he was the underdog against the Lakers? I can't even imagine, like, a Jordan not being the best. I'm being completely honest, chat. I can't even imagine a Jordan not being the best.
An insult to the Lakers. Who are these guys?
The Chicago Bulls' domination of this series has to be considered a major surprise.
There was all these unwritten rules in sports, and the unwritten rule is sort of you got to get to the finals before and lose before you can win. And so now it's Portland's turn. They had gone to the finals, lost to Detroit, and now it's their turn.
I think it was a combination of things. I'm not quite sure that everyone gave the Bulls the credit they deserved throughout the season. I think everyone felt the balance of power was in the West this year, that Portland, in fact, was the best team, and when the Lakers got by them, that the Lakers then were just going to put the Bulls away.
We can't have...
It's crazy how people still compare Jordan, though, like to modern-day players, to anybody. And he did all this years back, and he didn't even know that this would be happening now. That's insane, chat.
Revisionist history.
So once again, someone like Rich Paul revising history for Michael Jordan. As Sam Smith right there had a very good pulse on the Bulls, as was the entire NBA in 1991. And according to him, Mike Fratello, really the entire NBA consensus, the Bulls in 91 were a very good team, but on a surefire hit to win the title.
Wow.
Even looking at 1993, the Bulls, coming off 2 straight championships, being fatigued, lagging, winning 3 straight titles is a very tall task.
They were fatigued? There's no way. How are you fatigued from winning so much? I don't think I've ever seen that before. How are you fatigued from winning so much? Like, those are 2 seasons ago. You know, you're three-peating. How are you exhausted? What? Chat, can you guys let me know down below? Am I tripping? Like, I'm curious about that, actually.
And playing Phoenix that series, it was dead even. Then 1998, an even harder 3-peat. The Bulls, yes, fatigued, they were tired, have won 2 straight titles. But at this point, they were also old. MJ winning 98 and 93, and heck, even 91, those series going into it, it was a toss-up. And if you want to say Jordan's Bulls were the favorite, I mean, honestly, I kind of believe you. They had Michael Jordan, the guy in the finals, did not lose. When you have LeBron James 2012 playing the Thunder, a young KD, young Westbrook, even younger Harden, and they're not favored to win that series, ask yourself, why is that? because LeBron James 4 straight years had choked in the NBA playoffs.
Wow.
If LeBron hadn't folded versus Dallas in 2011 at 2012 Finals, they'd have been easily favored. So right here, Jordan in a very weird way being penalized for being too good, whereas LeBron James kind of given a cushion and booster seat for failing.
That does make sense. Jordan gets bashed for being so good at basketball, and LeBron gets more of leverage because of how much times he lost. I don't know. He makes sense. Like, this all makes sense now.
Numerous times leading up to that year's finals.
Hey!
Michael never had a 24-hour, 365 news cycle. He never had shows built strictly to criticize him. People made millions of dollars criticizing LeBron James. That was their entire job. And when you talk about the difficulty of it all, Michael played for Dean Smith, Michael played for Phil Jackson, and Michael had Jerry Krause.
Are you really retarded?
So stopping Rich Paul right there, the typical LeBron fan sob story. You know, it's the king versus the world, LeBron on his own. He has no coach, GM, sidekick, heck, no superstar teammates. The constant LeBron James sob story just comes off as pathetic and whiny, and it's very off-putting.
Yeah.
And what does Rich Paul do yet again? You know, the media hates LeBron James. It's so negative, so against him. Everyone hates LeBron. This right here is the epitome of being a diva. LeBron James, the media, yes, he has critics. His biggest critic being Skip Bayless back in the early 2010s. But now look at the NBA media. How many guys hate LeBron, bash him on a regular basis?
Every
It's
day.
few and far between.
Every single day I see like a new hate on LeBron though. I don't know. I feel like he's the most hated NBA player. Can you guys let me know down below what you guys think about him?
The guys who ride LeBron James, prop him up, that number is greater than ever. Guys like Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, Colin Cowherd, Broussard, Perkins. The number of LeBron supporters in the media, it's bigger than ever. And compared to LeBron haters, they outnumber them probably 10 to 1. And still LeBron James, he's the victim. Rich Paul is crying and whining on his behalf.
I can't take it anymore.
And looking at Paul's second comment, well, you know, Jordan, he had Dean Smith, Phil Jackson, Jerry Krause. Yes, Rich Paul, we know. But again, using context. 1991, who was Phil Jackson? A second-year head coach who was unproven.
Yeah.
Why Phil became Phil was in large part due to Jordan.
Okay.
If he jumped ship, never came back to 93, Phil Jackson isn't Phil Jackson. If LeBron in 2014 stays in South Beach, they retool, restack, another great roster, Eric Spoelstra might have 3, 4, even 5 championships.
Yeah.
And at that point, Spoelstra, one of the all-time greatest coaches, even though right now, he already is. And look at someone like Dean Smith. I guess now it's Michael Jordan's fault he went to college, went to UNC, spent 3 years learning basketball. I mean, LeBron James could have gone to college, but he didn't want to. Whose fault is that? Are you guys seeing the strategy right here? Michael Jordan's being penalized retroactively for his career, his choices, his correct choices. Going to UNC.
He's catching me. He's getting me. Like, gosh, LeBron, why? Do you guys think LeBron should have went to college to get a little bit better? But he was really nice coming out of high school, though, chat.
See, a phenomenal choice. Embracing Phil's system, winning 6 championships, another phenomenal choice. But now Jordan, 35 years later, gets penalized for one, being coachable and embracing great basketball minds.
If I may also just follow up on what I think is kind of a subtext of what he's saying as well, that also dovetails into what a lot of media members have said about LeBron's business strategy as a player in this league, is that he runs the team that he's on, that he makes the decisions about roster and he makes decisions about coaches. And I would love to put that in front of you and how you would respond to that.
And that's false.
I think he's lying. LeBron does run the team. I'll be honest. Like, I feel like when Russell Westbrook went on that team, he was just all, like, LeBron had all control. He could even be himself.
So that right there is our last clip, and Rich Paul right here doing absolutely terrible PR that nobody's buying. Saying LeBron James is some innocent player who just plays basketball, clocks in, clocks out, that's never been true. Just as last year LeBron James had the team draft his son. If that wasn't bad enough, who they hired as the head coach? LeBron's former podcast buddy, JJ Redick. At this point in 2025, if you think LeBron James doesn't have input on rosters, trades, the overall direction of the franchise, you're a complete and utter moron.
Wow.
Rich Paul running PR for LeBron James is being so transparent. In the long run, it actually hurts LeBron James. Because Rich Paul, the individual, is completely unlikable. As you watch the full interview, it's tons of word salad, tons of spin, and just a lot of narratives. Honestly, Rich Paul will make a great politician. It's all fluff, all talk, no substance.
Wow.
Like we see time and time again. The entire LeBron GOAT case, or the entirety of Klutch Sports, is a house of cards. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
Chat, we gotta talk about this. This was actually crazy. It made me see the GOAT debate and, LeBron's accolades at a whole different perspective, especially since Rich Paul was saying that. Wow. But, thank you guys for recommending me this video and also recommend me some more stuff to react to. But, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man. And I'll catch y'all next time. Yes, sir.